You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your co-host, Jason.
It's your co-host, Danny.
Fans, we got a fun, quick show for you today. First, we'll get right into the Olympics and a little bit into Formula One. But first, Danny, right into the Olympics and where it finally has started. Opening ceremony was Friday. We had a few games, a lot of games played, whether it's soccer or you name it, seemed like it has been played. Fencing, badminton, rugby. I mean, just the whole nine. I mean, it seemed like everything was on gymnastics. Mm-hmm. But I want to focus a little bit on basketball, Danny, where the USA men's basketball team goes ahead and gets it done in their first game of the Olympics, and where they beat down Serbia. This is called what it is, man. It was a beatdown, 110-84 over Jokic's led Serbia team. And so 10 players played, the U.S. basketball team, 10 players played, one of them not being Jason Tatum, the other being Halliburton. Mm-hmm. But I would say the showcase displayed by Kevin Durant off the bench, his first action in these Olympic games. But he comes off the bench, man, goes 5 for 5 from three-point land and overall scores 23 points. He's the all-time leading scorer in men's basketball when it comes to Olympic games. LeBron James has an impressive game, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists. He is the engine of the U.S. men's basketball team. You know, the controversy is that Jason Tatum not playing. Coach Kerr went to Jason Tatum before the game indicating that he may not play due to matchups, things of that nature. And this is, you know, to be expected. There's going to be a couple players that just doesn't play per game. This is called what it is. This is a different type of game. This is not a 48-minute game. This is a 40-minute game in the Olympics. Matchups is definitely something to, you know, take under consideration, especially when you're talking about a more fundamentally sound world league versus that of the USA men's leagues. You know, when you look at Curry, Drew Holiday, Devin Booker, Joel Embiid starting along with LeBron James, I mean, that's a dominant force. But I think one person who could stand to come off the bench is Joel Embiid. I believe he was sick, but he's still not in game shape, it seems like to me. And I think he could sit down somewhere, quite frankly. I think some minutes could be given. He played 11 minutes. I think some of those 11 minutes could have honestly been given to Jason Tatum. But it is what it is. What say you, Danny, about this game here?
Great game by KD, man. And he was 8 for 8 at one point. He ended up 8 for 9. But it wasn't like he was getting open looks either. That fadeaway he did right before halftime, all net when they ran the play for him. And he did a step. He was doing step back. His game was flawless. He had a flawless game. That was one of the reasons Tatum didn't play.
He's hot.
Yeah, you can't take him out.
No.
And LeBron got him going because they tried to go to Joel Embiid at the beginning, and Embiid, like you said, he was under the weather or whatever, but he couldn't get anything going. It kind of slowed him down too. Like there was no flow to the offense. So once they figured that out to say, all right, this ain't working, and Jokic was eating up Embiid on the other end.
Most
I think that got to his confidence too, because Could do anything he wanted on the court yesterday.
Hmm.
And he was
Hmm.
dropping some dimes. If you didn't see it, he was dropping some dimes. Those back cuts, and those are the things that the USA team has to get used to, all that back cutting and the pick and roll and the physicality of the game too. Because those teams, like yesterday, they're all up on them, and a lot of that's been pulled away from the NBA to make it a more flowing game.
Hmm.
Not, with the Olympics, it's a different game. It's more physical, and I thought Devin Booker had a great game. Anthony Edwards hit some big shots, and I look at Anthony Edwards, he's kind of loosening up the group.
Oh, most definitely. He's
But he's actually playing. It's not like he's out there a scrub. He's actually doing well, but he's kind of livening them up a little bit. Because you saw it yesterday, they're kind of tense.
hmm.
They
Hmm.
got down, and then when he came in, he got a lob. He hit a three.
Oh yeah.
He, he's
He's
enjoying the
loving this
moment.
experience, man. He's
Yes, he's
loving this
enjoying the experience.
experience.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's helping. That may help them down the line because
Hmm.
LeBron them yesterday. There are a couple of times they're side eyeing some cats, and so and we talked about this before where they can't rely on LeBron, KD, and Steph to put in a ton of minutes
Hmm.
because they're the elder statesmen of the team. This is where hopefully as they go on, they can start integrating Tyrese
Hmm.
Halliburton and
Hmm.
Tatum. But it's very interesting to me too that if you look at it, who are the highest paid Celtics? Tatum and Brown.
Tatum Brown.
Brown ain't on the team. Tatum didn't play. Drew Holiday and Derek White actually had a really good defensive game yesterday.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that shows you something, especially that Kerr noticed that because White, they're out there, they had to defend on the perimeter and they made some big plays. So all in all, great first game for them. They got the, first game jitters out and now they play South Sudan on Wednesday. I believe, I don't know the time.
The rematch.
Yes, the rematch. Looking forward to that game.
I'm looking forward
And
to that one.
I want to see how KD comes out because this is his first game from the calf injury. Like you said, he hasn't played. So how does his body respond and everything? I'm sure he'll be okay, but uh, I just want to see how this goes. But I'm thinking long term too. If you have three Celtics, I'm talking about NBA season,
Hmm.
AD and LeBron. Like, how are these teams going to look once they get back? Devin Booker and KD on Phoenix. How are they going to
Hmm.
look in the NBA season? And so that's why I want to watch how they Curve manages their minutes because ultimately they could get the goal, but at what cost from an NBA perspective?
Yeah, that's a good point, Danny. I think the Celtics are going to struggle starting off.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Drew Holiday struggled when he did the same thing with Milwaukee. And
Yep.
Chris Middleton went on the team, did
Mm-hmm.
their thing, got gold there, came back and struggled.
Yep.
I think Drew probably learned the lessons from last time, but I'm curious too to see what Tatum and White does here.
Yep.
I think they're going to struggle. Same thing with KD and well, I feel like this. KD is a hooper,
Yep.
so I think KD's going to be okay. Booker, I think he might be all right, but he's going to get a little tired down the stretch there.
Mm-hmm.
And truth be told, I was gonna say, I was looking at the game, Danny, and in my mind, I was like, okay, I understand Booker being there from an offensive standpoint, but from a defensive standpoint, man, he was getting blown by a couple of times, and so Booker, would I rather see Jaylen Brown in there? Yes, I think Jaylen Brown has that dog in him. I think he has that defensive presence. And it would have been great to have that defensive presence along the wing. So I think I would have rather seen Jaylen Brown on a team uh, than White personally. But I get it too from a financial standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I definitely think though the only reason why Joel Embiid is out there, they went to him. Maybe a deal was made. I need to start because he was an MVP. Didn't want to come off the bench. I get it, but Joel Embiid does not look good, man. And here's the other. Let me ask you this, Danny. Here's the other thing.
Yep.
with the Olympics games, there's only 12 teams involved.
Hmm.
Okay. FIBA is quite different. And I think a lot more countries are a part of that competition, and they're younger and hungrier. And so it would have been really great to see some of the younger players
Hmm.
kind of, step up here.
Yep.
You know what Grant Hill and the USA basketball team is going to do moving after the Olympics, but they need to think of something quick
Hmm.
because the only person I see out there, Anthony Edwards, the Bookers, Tyler Halliburton. I don't, he doesn't get any run this summer. This is be real, but I don't see a Joel Embiid doing this again.
No.
I don't know.
This is where you may see like the Jalen Brunsons,
Yeah.
that type of caliber player, which would
hmm
be great because you know they're going to put in max effort.
Now,
They're going to take it serious.
Bam Adebayo. Listen, I think he's been a participant many years over. I wonder at what point does his body really starts to take a toll for
Hmm.
international play, right?
Yeah, he played some good
Um,
defense yesterday too.
yep, agreed there. Anthony Davis, I don't see him being a part of this again.
Mm-mm.
I really don't. Anthony Edwards, I say he's going to be a fixture. He's going to be the breakout star. But the rest of the team members, Danny, are veterans. So I'm wondering who's going to step up, who's younger, hungry. There's going to be some answers that need to be made for the questions that we have. So we'll see.
Hmm.
And Danny, right into well, before we get there, Olympic wise, what's been one of some of the things that you've watched or
Yeah.
highlights that you watched? I know it's early, but Olympics always is that great time to see competition on the screen. What sports?
Checked out the gymnastics, saw Simone Biles yesterday duke it out with a calf injury.
Mm-hmm.
Um, was strong there, and the women's team looked strong. The men's, I watched a little of that. Swimming's been great. Seeing some records broken. USA's representing there. The men's 4x1 did their thing the other night with Dressel anchoring.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, man, made me think of high school was badminton. If you remember back in the day, we used to
Yeah.
play badminton. I
Yep.
don't know if you saw that sequence, man, between USA and I don't know if it was, I think it was China. And they said that birdie was
Mm-hmm.
going so fast, and those cats were digging it out, and the exchange was insane. So if you get a chance, man, check out badminton. But no, all in all, man, it's been great. I'm big on the Olympics. I love watching just all the different
Mm-hmm.
sports and the athletes and kind of how their perspectives in the countries and seeing the USA challenged
Mm-hmm.
certain
Mm-hmm.
areas where they dominate. How do they do? Watch rugby.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the men's. I saw Fiji fall to France, and Fiji hadn't
Yeah.
lost in
Yeah.
I don't know, like a couple Olympics.
Yeah. Saw the
Like they're
same thing.
undefeated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
all in all, it's been great, man. How about you?
I checked out that same rugby match there. Of course, basketball. I watched a little fencing. U.S. The men, excuse me, the women's.
Mhm.
Um, USA versus USA for 1 and 2. So that was good. And let's see, swimming, of course. Also archery. I'm a big
Ooh,
archery fan.
yeah.
And so that was pretty dope to watch. Yeah, an opening ceremony. Opening ceremonies was a little bit different this year. I didn't see them actually walk into a stadium. I just saw them, ride boats. It was raining
Yes.
and everything. A little, different. I don't know. I think if I'm an athlete, it probably wouldn't matter how it would go
Hmm.
in terms of being introduced as a country, a part of the country. But man, I think personally, there's something about walking into the arena. into the stadium and just listening,
Hmm.
hearing just the hypeness and everything, and just seeing all the colors.
Yep.
I don't think you can do that on a boat.
No, no.
Uh, I don't think it. I think it may hit differently.
Hmm.
So that part I kind of missed. The performances were good, but I just remember like the Brazils and when it was in China, just the pomp and circumstance that it was just of the performances, man. And
Yeah.
this one, it was cool. They had segments, different segments, and then they would have a parade of boats coming in for different countries, and then they go into another segment. A
Hmm.
lot of that stuff was pre-staged,
Yeah.
pre-recorded, if you will. So I would say, in my opinion, it was although it could have, it was a great, you know, opening ceremony. It
Hmm.
wasn't the best, in
Yep.
my opinion.
Agree.
It was far down the list, in my opinion. Is this okay? Would I watch it again? No. I think there's the ones to me that really resonates are the ones that you like, man, I need to go back and look at, the performance or look at hundreds of people doing the same thing at the same time or
Yep.
whatever, I just didn't get that out of this one. And now, Danny, on the Formula One, and where this past weekend, the Belgian Grand Prix happened in a exciting race. This is a very exciting race. And let me just say, George Russell initially won this race. Mercedes went 1 and 2, with Sir Lewis Hamilton being second.
Hmm.
George Russell went for the one-stop strategy versus two-stop strategies. So Lewis Hamilton was leading most of this race, Danny, and he pitted, a couple of times, as I mentioned. The second time he pitted was more so to cover the charge by Ferrari coming on the backside. So it's kind of like, well, let's go ahead and pit so I can have fresher tires
Yep.
or match the tires with the main competitor here. And the thought was that George Russell was going to pit as well. He decided not to. He ran on hard tires predominantly throughout the race, and he ended with the hard tires. So it was down to the wire, and where they went ahead and battled. They meaning Mercedes, Sir Lewis Hamilton, and George Russell battled down the end here, but they were, especially Sir Lewis Hamilton, I think was being very cautious not to crash or not to uh, mess up the 1-2 finish here. But just as I say, Sir Lewis Hamilton, ends up winning because of disqualification by George Russell's car, and where it was found that he was 1.5 kilograms light or underweight, which equates to about 3.3 pounds. And so George Russell is disqualified, and that moves everybody up one spot, which means that Sir Lewis Hamilton ends up winning the race. This sucks for George Russell. This would have put him put him ahead of Sir Lewis Hamilton in the ultimate standings, the driver standings, but he suffers the consequences here and is qualified. Very good race though overall. Kept my interest throughout the entire race. Uh, and this was the final race before the summer break, 3 week summer break that they go on, where they have about 10 or 11 more races. So a couple more still here in the United States, one in Austin, Texas, and obviously the one in Vegas. So this is going to be a very interesting second half of the season. Max Verstappen, he even though he pulled in the qualifying round, had a 10 pole position penalty, so he was in 11th place to start off with, and ends up, I believe, fifth or fourth. And so this is going to be interesting moving down. I think Red Bull is very vulnerable right now. that can be overtaken. What say you, Danny, about Formula One?
Isn't that something, Jason? Just think at the beginning of the season, Red Bull was dominating.
Mm-hmm.
Verstappen was beating people by like 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now the tables have turned. And it's actually good though, because like I said in the past, man, I didn't want to see Max Verstappen winning every week,
Mm-hmm.
Red Bull
Mm-hmm.
winning every week. And see McLaren, now they took second based on, with that disqualification again. And Norris took fifth, but for McLaren as well. But it's good, man. I'm happy for Sir Lewis Hamilton to get another victory
Mm-hmm.
to the break. And I'm just hoping he keeps this momentum up and they can keep Verstappen down so it makes it competitive going into the final races.
Mm-hmm.
So, people are jockeying and it's not just someone dominating the whole sport. Glad to see him win. Crazy with Russell and getting DQ like that. But, well, now he has some things to think about over the next couple of weeks. And then, and you wonder who's responsible for that.
Yeah.
So someone's going to have a phone call about that, about him DQing like that. So, yeah, we'll see now that they're on break, and now it gives us more time to focus on the Olympics while they're out.
Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at @back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.